following is a presentation of MRE Uno, Division 2.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Emery Uno's D2 Meteorological May here on the Emery Uno channel. And after we had a very exciting start to the round here, we have our second regional final to wrap up the day. I'm your host, G-Man, and we have a matchup that has not happened in D2 yet. Number 1 seed versus number 2 seed here in the Barometer region. Ridley against SaiyanTitan. One of which will make the Final Four. Ridley looking for their second consecutive Final Four. Saiyan in his first regional final here, looking to make his first Final Four. We'll see who comes out on top here, but I'm your host, G-Man, and let's get to the bracket here. Unfortunately, Short's been out all day, so this is not an updated bracket, but I'll fill you in on what you need to know. Start off with the first match with Red and Taco in the Drought region. That game was relatively close until the end, where Red capitalized off a massive +4 flurry to get the lead, win that 1-5-3. He moves on. Taco unfortunately suffers disappointment once again in the regional final round, as he now goes into Justice July, likely on the bubble for a that large spot in the D2 championship. And of course, Ridley SaiyanTitan up next, 1-2. In a tournament that's been mostly chalk. We have the definition of a chalk regional final with the projection from the start of the tournament. And then on the Cyclone region, this is actually a time change. This is actually now going to be tomorrow at 9:30 p.m. So Ami and Myhail will go at it in the Cyclone region. And then finally, Altimeter region, we have a time for that match. It is currently also at 9:30 p.m., but that one being on Tuesday. So that will wrap up the round here, and once that one's done, we'll have our Final Four. But right now, we will be determining who our second player will be in the Final Four from the Barometer region. Jump over to the stage. I'm joined by my co-commentator, the man who loves his drives to Pier. And I think the topic of discussion for this one is this has been a tournament that has been, again, not very upset heavy. And we have a matchup here that is basically non-upsets. So when it comes to how this shapes up, what is the thoughts going into this match for both players here? Ridley, of course, was number 1 on the rankings for the D2 championship reveal, and they've kind of lived up to that, although this has been a very weird run for Ridley, all things considered, and then Saiyan has just kind of been able to do what he's been usually able to do, but get a little bit of an extra boost here, making it to this round instead of losing out in the round of 16 as he breaks through that that tough hurdle that he's had for a bit. But expectations for both players here tonight and what you're expecting to happen going into this one.
Well, look, obviously there's a reason that you have number 1 versus number 2. They earned that spot, right? So you got number 1 versus number 2. I expect nothing less than a quality matchup between two gentlemen here. It's going to be a best of 9. We're going to see who takes the win here. I expect pretty much going to be hopefully game 6, 7, 8. I don't see a sweep happening here. These players are just too good for that. I think we're in for some quality entertainment here, quality cinema. I'm excited to get it going here.
Well, sure hope we have a good match here. We've had a few bonkers matches in the round of 16. I think the match from earlier today was pretty good up until the crazy plus 14 that Red was able to get, but ultimately a decent start to the round, all things considered. Ridley won't be in the call, so we'll have a pre-type question for him. That is not the question I had because I had to show the link, so that's on me. But well, I have to retype the question. We'll go to Saiyan. Saiyan, this is the first time you're in the regional finals round. You talk a lot in the server about what you're feeling you need to be able to get into the D2 championship. You feel you're on the bubble right now, but an appearance here definitely helps your chances. Any comments on what you feel is going to be what you have to go in with this? Let me rephrase that. For what you have to feel, what you feel is going to be your best move going into this match to get the advantage, get the upper hands, be able to get the win, and do something that has not been seen a lot this tournament so far, which is pull an upset.
Yeah, it's not going to be very easy in this round. Ridley is one of the best players that we have seen all season. But between me and Ridley, we seem to have the same career. I mean, last year wasn't anything good. This year, we have been on fire. So really entering this match, I'll just have to play the best that I've ever done this year and hope to God that the RNG doesn't screw either of us. Because my last two matches, I've basically been given a win by the RNG. So I really hope that doesn't happen, or what inevitably happens to any lucky player, it turns a nasty head and they lose almost instantly. So I just hope for a very good match, especially for something historic like this.
All right, there we go. That took forever, but we'll read it off here. Wish we could have done that earlier, but I can't critically think. But Ridley, this has been a very turbulent run for you, but despite it all, you've once again been in the regional finals. You entered this tournament as number 1 in the rankings, and the repeat Final Four would help double down on that spot. So what's the mindset going into this tonight to try and be the first person in 2 Final Fours this season? Again, Ridley will type out their response. We'll see what they have to say on this as well. We get that going. Our ref for tonight will be Scars. He already had the game set up, so I'm just waiting on Ridley to give their pregame thoughts, and then we'll get underway. But yeah,
We're ready to rock and roll here.
ready for the drives of a century. We'll see how many we see tonight. We saw
So
a
many
few in the
drives.
morning, but was a bit tame until the end. But we'll see what happens here. As I also do want to mention as well, both players do have purple as their scoreboard icon with white text, but 2 different shades here. Ridley going for a lighter version, Saiyan going for a more dark purple. But I'm excited to get this game running. This is about improving my resume and working towards that highly sought after auto promotion D1, and getting the win here will certainly help with that goal. I have been anticipating this match and excited to finally get to play again. Best of luck to Saiyan. Alright, well, with that out of the way, we are ready to get things going. Scars, feel free to ask the most famous question in MRE Uno. Really, how many cards? There you go. Alright, gonna start with 12, and I'm trying to remember how many game 1 started in what's it called? The game from this morning, but 12 was definitely seen a few times, but Yellow 8's going to be the opener for this one. No wonder I can't find I was on the wrong server. Yeah, no, the game from earlier this morning also started on 12, so we'll see how that plays out.
Seems to be a popular start.
Yeah. And just like the game from this morning, we are starting with quick switches on the first turn. So we're not going the blue. Both these players are at 7 wins right now, and currently there's 2 players in the league with 8, so they're looking to jump up to that 8-win tier, put themselves in a pretty good spot to be at least an at-large, although one of those 8-win players does have a tournament win, so they're not really factoring into that equation. But blue +2 and blue 8 from Saiyan, early jump here, as Ridley's just going to keep it calm. And Saiyan has ran out early, so through the +2 to at least throw Ridley a little back, but now is struggling a little bit on blue, but Ridley's going to go for a switch here on red.
No need to do anything drastic, right?
Not necessarily. But I mean, for Ridley, if they definitely had blue, maybe a slight missed opportunity, but maybe they want to go back there, or maybe they just also ran out of blue. Again, Ridley just kind of been running the numbers so far. Saiyan gonna go for the green here. But Saiyan with the advantage currently. Ridley maybe trying to see if they could do something to give advantage, and there's your +2, so that'll give Ridley the lead.
Pandora's box opening up early for the first time this series.
It's true. I haven't seen a ton of yellow, but it is Pandora's. So I'm gonna go for a 3-card run, pretty much eliminates that +2 and then brings it back to even, but Ridley still now holds the advantage.
There's going to be a test to see who can run the greens the most here.
Just taking a second here. We're in the territory where you could have that big run to the end here, but don't necessarily know. Power play in game 1 is
Wait,
an
what?
interesting call.
That's a choice. That is a choice.
Well, there's your finish there. Yeah, Wood's not really going to be able to get the call out with the double, but Saiyan goes for the power play in game 1, which is a bold call there. I'm going to have to ask about that one.
That's an interesting one for sure. Usually you would see it closer to game 6, 7, 8, being you only have the 1 there.
Immediate
Could
power
just
play
be to get the
definitely.
early lead. Just to get the early lead there. Winning 4 games is easier than winning 5.
Played perfectly, just got a combo. Yeah. For Saiyan, any comments on the power play usage for game number 1 here, as you do not have it for the rest of the series now?
Yeah, I kind of get it. I did it in the last series too against Pikachu, so I'm not extremely nervous. But I was just feeling a little uncomfortable with the situation. Something told me that Ridley had more left in his ammo, and I didn't want this chain to go to waste, especially when I had a wild throughout the entire game. I had a crud ton of green action cards, so I just felt like my best strategy exiting the game was just to get the run to the finish, because yellows were barely playing. I was worried that he would have something on yellow, so it just came down to comfort on that one and not letting the aggression shoot me in the foot and just go 100%.
Alright, well, Scars, Ridley wants to go for 13 here, 1 up in game 2. And we start with the yellow skip, so ammo to start off. We didn't really see anyone jump on the chain to start in the series from this morning, but Ridley's gonna also not jump on it.
Starting off with the same color that we ended last game on. So it's kind of just a continuation here.
Alright,
Yellow one from Ridley. Here comes Cyan here.
There's a switch.
Switching to red.
I think Cyan's been controlling most of these switches so far. Yeah, 5-1 on the switches. But he's also got one self-draw as well. And make that 2. So, Cyan controlling the switches, but ultimately seems to be the one running out first on some of these colors. And once again, Ridley is going to do the switch right away.
Back to yellow, so he really doesn't want that red there.
L2. Another switch from Cyan. Ridley's still able to play it. Kind of going all over the place now. And throws a +6 and goes into green now. So, throws Ridley back to 12.
And that's kind of what I was figuring too, because on a 13 start, you would expect both players to have at least one of each color, green included. On a 5 or a 6 or a 7, that's not always the case. Sometimes you might even get 2 color there. But it's going to be Ridley with the response here. He's at 12. That's double what Cyan has right now at 6.
Again, just playing the numbers here, not really doing much here. Cyan with another double here, so just seems to be using all the ammo right now. Gonna go for the +4 here, so wasn't feeling too comfortable about the situation. But it's gonna go on a bit of a
He
run
does
here.
not want to mess around again.
Starts on the run with red, but now goes into yellow. Does the run extend, or is it gonna end here? Gonna end here on the yellow 9. And Cyan has another +2, and put himself back in the lead.
What will Ridley do here? Yellow 3 is still going to have one left to get rid of from that +2.
8-5. Ridley, I mean, has kind of played mostly with their numbers so far, and Cyan once again is going to find a run ending, but this time Ridley's not going to immediately switch. So we're looking to try and take advantage of this now. Just got to play the numbers right here. And also runs out, actually, so now we're in Draw City. Although, actually, they're in the lead now. So yeah, both drawing back now. Yellow not really providing too much at this point in the game. And this is longer than game 1 now, by a good bit. Just about to hit 4:30 in a little bit. So the Draw City keeps racking up here. Yeah, up to 12 now. Looking at 13. Ridley might find the break here. No, they will not. They will keep it drawing.
Still keeping going here. Really filling up their hands now.
Yellow reverse.
Back
Ridley might
to
go for
the
it now.
send
There
now.
it is.
Just as I said, right back to the send. Now we're getting out of that, and now Ridley's down to 10.
3 cards switch into blue, but Cyan's gonna go on the switch for green. I think both are gonna be able to play that though. They will. Ridley with a bit of a gap right now with that run, but again, that was a long draw city, so a lot of cards could have been thrown out here. And no, Ridley has ran out on green, so not necessarily what they want here. See if Cyan keeps it green or maybe explores a different color. Gonna go for a run into
1,
the
2,
red.
3, 4. That's a
Should give
5
him
card
lead,
there.
yeah.
And it's going to be Ridley with the response here. Let's see what he does. He might be comfortable with that red, or he's going to switch. Perhaps back to the green if he wants to stall some more.
Taking a second to think this through here. Alright, gonna go for the +2. That'll tie it, and that card will give Ridley the lead. Yeah, again, it's just kind of, at this point, it's a good amount of thinking. You're gonna have to go with this, especially if you don't have that direct run to the end. Cyan's gonna go back to blue.
And it's going to be 6-6 with Ridley with the
Blue 3.
possession advantage.
Double blue 1 here, so I had the any switch out blocked. And again, the early type here. Please just taking a minute. Blue +2.
Super close game here.
Blue reverse.
This might be
Could
it,
this be a
actually.
finish? No.
Oh,
What's the response from Cyan here? He had something typed before, but might have a bit of a change. Blue skip and blue 9, so just a double. Can really get the Uno or finish it here. It's gonna be a finish with a +4, so
there you go. Yeah.
2 +4s in that game for Ridley, all they really need, but Ridley gets the win there to tie it up 1-1. I don't even know, we'll go to the sign here since, again, I have to type the questions for Ridley, but anything that you saw in that game, maybe that could have gone a little different. Well, that is a lot of blue, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, look. Assuming that we both had a lot of cards left, you would think that Ridley would have more than just blue left. That's the thing. I almost thought about switching it to yellow with the wild. I really did. But I was relying on the idea that Ridley was not going to pick up another freaking +4 out of thin air. So, really, at that point, it's just, I don't know if you want to call it patience or you want to call it something else, but that was basically an error of judgment right there.
Ridley. Ridley got a game went back and forth, currently disadvantaged on every ammo except the +4, which was crucial in this one. Thoughts to take the side now. And I'll mention it here since I mentioned the question. Technically right now Ridley is down on every ammo but except the +4, but sometimes that's all you really need to get it done. But we saw Ridley get the win there, especially with the +4 finish, so it's been an interesting one so far.
Be interesting to press on for sure, because like you said, maybe that's really all you need is a +4s because they're so OP. Even the wild, you just still shifting to your opponent. But with the +4, you can really just use it multiple different ways.
Yeah, but it's true. It is the strongest card in the game. But solid game. Draw City helped me a bit. Could have used my power play to end it in one turn earlier, but I did the +2 game before it paid off. Glad I was able to get going. It's interesting they mentioned the power play because Cyan went for it game 1, but Ridley decided not to use it here, so they still have it. But it'll be interesting to see when they decide to pull the trigger on that, because I have a feeling they're not going to hold. They might not hold on to it to just finish the series. Alright, well, with that said, Cyan will get the call here for game number 3, and he just can't pick 12, I think. I'm gonna go 14. Looking back, I should have reversed the play by number, so it could have been a costly mistake. Well, I mean, technically it didn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, but yeah, I understand what Ridley means by that. Another yellow, and this time it's gonna be a yellow 2. And Cyan's gonna immediately switch. Does not want to start on the yellow. Spear, any thoughts on the quick switch there, as we get the first ditto of the game?
No, not really. It could just be that he's, well, with 14, you'd think he has yellow, but it could just be a sense that he's on 3 color and he just wants to get out of yellow as quick as he can.
Double red 3.
We'll see if he switches back to yellow, because that'll mean that he had some to start off the game. Still could go either way.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're seeing a few switches early on, which, I mean, you can kind of expect with 14 cards here, but, it's going to be interesting to see how this goes out, because, I mean, both these players don't really do the ammo too early, and just as I say that, it's going to be a double there. But I guess should rephrase it. They don't usually like going on those big runs early, maybe just like a double here and there, but that's about it. Another ditto here, as Ridley's not going to actually do the double into a draw, which we've seen a few people do. Even Cyan did, I think, once in game 1. And gets to switch the yellow. Might be at a good time here. And cross over the red, though. Cyan's still not wanting to go in this yellow yet, but it's actually going to be a force into yellow with the run here, looking for a 3-card switch. There it is, into the yellow. Will he have another switch, or is he going to have to play it? He is really continuously denying
That's
the
a
yellow
third
here.
one.
Uses a wild, goes into blue. Can Ridley potentially have a response back with this, actually?
I don't know. It might just be that he didn't have yellow. Because why else did you throw the wild there? That's very interesting.
Yeah, this game's gone quick. +4 into yellow. Is this a finish, or is it Uno? It's just Uno. Cyan continuously does not want this yellow here.
Last chance for Cyan
And
to do anything.
he's going to go with it here.
Is really going to get that one there?
And Ridley
No.
draws. So
Ooh.
that doesn't actually work out in their favor there.
So it is now going to be a
Oh,
mystery.
gets a top deck
Oh my
wild
gosh.
green. And it's going to force Cyan in a tough spot here unless he has like a +2. No, he has to switch. Just
There you go.
number placement here. And he's going to be able to stay alive in this one for now. Goes back into green.
I will say, if Ridley had a
assuming-
green 5 there, that would have been nuts.
Nope, gets the self blue 5. I mean, that would have given Ridley a chance to get the Uno, which would have been a little risky, depending on the top deck. Blue skip. It's going to have to be a green skip here. I don't think Ridley has it, though. Yeah, it's going to have to be a green skip here to get the game. No way.
What?
I don't know. This could be a fake. A little bit of a scare.
There's no way. A whoop jump scare?
I had nothing this game can against the last card effectively.
Still gotta play your last card, bud.
They're just soaking up the moment.
Slow roll?
Well, he knows it's green, but that doesn't necessarily mean the game is over. It has to be a green skip.
It should, yeah.
Otherwise, the game is
Take
not
a
over.
guess. And he would have to draw there.
No, yeah,
Oh,
there it
shit.
is. I mean, like, I'm not really sure. Not really sure what that was about.
Well, that's one for the blooper reels, folks. Carry on.
All right. And another draw here, and Ridley is in top deck territory. We saw a top deck with the Wild before, but couldn't quite get it. They're not going to get it there. But yeah, blue 3 top deck. Ridley's got to trying to find the green here at this point, but the problem is these draws are going to make it a little bit more difficult to get that finish.
Just have to draw the right numbers or colors,
Still drawing
which
here.
doesn't seem to be happening right here. And we are possibly into Draw City there with a top deck from Ridley.
Well, Ridley's going to have to find the switch here. Gets into yellow, still no green. We know they have at least one green. We're going to need to find it. Yellow 2.
That might help him some, but it's not going to be
Wild blue.
game,
They're
I don't
just
think.
going to stall it out again.
Yeah, and if he has absolutely nothing, then that's the best bet for him. He just knows that he has nothing else to do but try
Ridley
that.
is getting these top decks, not necessarily to get a game finisher, but it's keeping Ridley low. So that's keeping them in the position to possibly benefit off a big top deck. But yeah, I will say that is kind of an interesting way to go for blue. I mean, I think he maybe could have gone for like a red or something, because we know at least one of Ridley's cards is green. Gonna leave the door open here. Gonna say it's a strategic play.
Real.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem like there's really +2s remaining. So it's either just someone drawing it or someone closing the door. Well, there you go. Close the door.
Get that out of here.
And I guess that's a situation where Ridley could have maybe used the power play. There's your green. That was not the green they had finished, because we had a 6 before and didn't get it played, but now we're gonna try to see this green get run down here, but at this point this is not gonna be even anywhere close to a finish, because Ridley's definitely drawn a lot more cards here. Gets a +4, and that's a bit of a shot there.
That's going to be interesting for sure.
Goes back to green 6, green 2. I don't know how good I'd be feeling about this right now if I was Ridley. Draws, runs out on green. Saiyan might be able to keep this going, or maybe get it. Oh, no, Saiyan does not actually. Okay, so now I'm actually a bit... That +4 is an interesting call there. Ridley's going to switch into the red here, despite being currently at disadvantage at the moment, so it might free up Saiyan here. But that +4 to keep it green is a curious call to me. And Saiyan gets into check, so that puts Ridley in a not very good spot. So we'll see if Ridley has something to keep the game alive. Saiyan just did +4 Ridley, so there it is. Gonna keep themselves alive for now. Goes back into red, and now we are tied at 5. Now I was gonna go running it down here. Alright. Red 7. It's Ditto. Really getting down to the wire here. Red 1. And Cyan runs out. Can Ridley keep it going? No, and they both are just kind of stuck in gridlock here. Deck's all scrambled up now. Ridley's gonna go for the blue switch. Cyan has nothing. Can Ridley keep a run going for a little bit here? No. So this is now, at the moment, a two-color game. I think for Ridley, the fact they were not really able to use the blue as a crossover, well, just as I say that, they do get the yellow 8, so they are technically able to use it as a crossover, but this is now a two-color game here. And Cyan's going to just throw the three-card run here, throwing out some of his ammo, and throws Ridley back a little bit further. 9 runs out, but can Ridley keep this going here? This feels like it's a two-color game here. I'm wondering if Ridley's keeping an eye on this, though, because with the amount of draws we've seen, that really would leave Cyan's options still one color. And we're going back to red. Ridley can't play. Cyan has a little bit more on red, but really it's going to be the green that is the finish here at the moment. 6-4. Cyan runs out, and it's really going to be that switch to green for what Cyan needs. He has at least 3 cards on green, I think. But for now, these draw cities are just going to continue on and on and on. Let's take a look at the card history here. This is really good. This starts playing a potential factor. There's still 1+4 left in the deck. We get to switch the blue. There's both, oh wow, both red +2s and green +2s are still available. There's actually a lot of +2s still left. I'm surprised. I thought more would have been used by now. But now we go in the blue. And it's 6-6 here. And how much can we run this blue? Because it's really going to be not really much of a possible finish here until we find some switch in the green. Cyan's going to draw. Ridley's going to keep it going, so that will definitively give them the lead. And, I mean, if Ridley's able to roll with this, and they have the remaining +4, that could be a big help for them. But I'm not really sure whether that +4 is in someone's hand. And just as I say that, Cyan has it, and he's going to use it into yellow. So no more +4s left. As the card goes by. And now we go into yellow, so there's still no green. I feel like we gotta stop at green at some point. Ridley has no yellow, which is a complete disaster. Not what they needed at all. There's the green. So now we're looking at a potential close to finish here. That's also kind of what I gotta do. Green 3, green 7. This is really where Cyan's trying to get to the end here at this point. Because the red sucks and the blue sucks for Cyan. So, Ridley only able to play numbers, though. It's just kind of how much of this ammo is really left. Cyan could also just have a 4-card run to the finish. I mean, there's a lot of green left. There's your 4-card run to the finish, and there it is. So, Cyan able to get that last +4 to put himself in the winning position there, and ultimately the not much Ridley was able to do towards the end there. Cyan, I gotta ask if the one draw was the +4 because you were drawing on blue and then just suddenly the +4 came in the yellow. Any comments there?
Well, I did get the last +4 way before that. I was taking a look at the card history when I came down to like 4 cards, which was the +4, greens gap, and 2 greens. Now, what I was worried about at the time was that Ridley had a crap ton of +2s and had a chain to the finish. that would have ultimately screwed me over. So I decided to do the one thing that I should have had in the last game, patience. And apparently I just found out how far patience goes in this game. Turned out very far because I somehow won the endurance match. In which, wow, hell of a freaking game there with Ridley. That has to be highlighted for the series.
It was a long game. Man, definitely a big back and forth. I mean, Ridley said one turn away on 4 different occasions, and just couldn't find that finisher. But I think kind of Ridley answered any questions I was gonna ask them. But yeah, with that said, we could jump to game 4 here, because again, Ridley kind of already answered anything I was gonna ask. Gonna go for the full send here. Gonna keep it high. And we start with a blue 8 on this one. No one else is gonna do it, so I might as well. There you go. Blue 7 to open, so 1 down. Again, only 2-1 at the moment, so still really early. And Ditto? Assuming the bot's not like, no, it's not Ditto, it's 1 down. But no blue 7 from Ridley. We'll see how that plays a factor. Probably not that much. Blue 4. And, I mean, we're still running on the blue, but just as I say that, Cyan goes for the green switch. And I've said this before earlier today, and I say it a lot in these 15 card starts, and just in high card starts in general. The real main thing is you're kind of the expectation is you're going to be able to run it down for a while. The main thing you don't want to do, though, is be the first to draw, because then that puts you in a bad spot. Especially if the other player has a direct run to the finish in some sort of way. You don't want to be that first person to draw there, so you gotta have to figure out a way to at least keep yourself in a good spot. Whether it be maybe even a few risks, going on a little with a weaker color to get rid of it, or just making sure you're staying safe till the end. But saw a Ditto earlier. Cyan again continuing with his switches. Ridley's still able to play, but Ridley's actually gonna have the counter now. But we go to yellow. I believe Pier is back now. But still running the yellows here. Double yellow 5. It's a decent amount of number efficiency I have seen so far. Both are down to 7. Still no draws. Another switch here into green now. Ridley with the green reverse, so this will give him the lead. And it's just going to be a double.
My apologies, I had to boot up my other phone.
You're good. And
are
Cyan's going to 1-up. And that's not the... Oh, man. Ridley power plays in a bizarre manner. And there's no more power plays. That was not a good move.
All right, well,
man. That with the power play advantage here, that is the thing you did not want to do there. That was way too over aggressive. And suddenly this is not looking good for Ridley here.
sometimes
Gets a
you just
wild
gotta
yell,
get
has a wild yell to try to
trigger
counter, and that's
happy
actually
there.
going to force Cyan the draw, so at least salvaging it somewhat. The big thing for Ridley here at this point, they have to win this game. You do not want to use the power play and then lose the game. So, oh my
Obvious
god, a
understatement.
+4 top deck.
Obvious understatement is that the power
Another
play
wild
just
yellow,
changed
so that should be a block. There it
definitely.
is. But man, this is a disaster for Ridley. That was honestly a really poor mistake. You can't really be doing that in the regional final round.
Very, very big blunder there.
I have to wonder if Ridley maybe was 1 away and they didn't really want to fumble it this time, but I mean the +2 is really just not going to help you. Yell, skip, draw. I mean, I think Ridley is getting close. Like, it really does have the lead now, but it's like, yeah, this is going to be bit of a disappointing game, no matter how this goes. Ridley wants to win here definitely, but yeah, I mean, could have used that power play in many better ways, but just ultimately a burnt. Right, double from red here. Ridley keeps it rolling on the red here. Sign goes back into yellow. Does Ridley have a switch here?
We'll see.
No, no switch. I don't know if Sign has a play here. Maybe one or two, but there's a lot of draws on this yellow here, unless there's a 8 switch.
And that does mean both players burn their power play, so this is going to be just a straightforward game here. It's going to be just the cards and the cards only.
Yeah, I mean, I thought both power plays in this series to me were a bit kind of head scratchers for different reasons. But it's gonna be clean from here on out.
And I suppose that is the first time in a very long time that both power plays were burned before the half point of the season or the series. This is game 4,
I
so
can't really remember the
technically
last time
still
that
the
happened.
first
Yeah,
half. Like even if it was a power play series lock, that's still game 5. You have to have a game 5. So this is very, very bizarre. As we enter Draw City, so I think for Ridley it's just adding salt to the wound now with him back at 9 cards. And now 10.
again, still no yellow at all. You gotta look for the switch. There's your switch here, so it breaks away. Ridley still has possession arrow, but yeah, I mean, I'm just not really sure what the thought process was on that. That was way too early to go for a defensive power play, if that's what they were going for.
Seems like the only viable answer there.
Oh, there's a ditto. And another +2 throws Ridley back even more.
And it's going to be Cyan with the lead now, 8 to 11. I would hope Ridley has an answer here for as much as he's drawn. And then get the switch into red.
Red
The old
is okay. Red's the call now, and it's another run, and we go back into blue. Cyan just controlling the ammo at this point. +2, so throws him back a little bit. And the blue 9, so that's both blue +2's gone. And Cyan runs out on blue here, tries to leave the door open with a reverse. We'll see what Ridley does here. Nothing. So no blues left. And it's another draw city. Just does not seem anyone could really find that lineup they need, like, in the early going of this. Man, definitely a different pace than what we were expecting. Than what we saw from other past games in this tournament, but this has been going long, but this has not necessarily been the cleanest game. A few small mistakes here and there, but sometimes that kind of just makes for a more entertaining match.
Interesting for sure. As we are still in Draw City there. Very solid, looking for top decks. Top decks galore.
I mean, we're hitting it, or Ridley's at 15 now. So no blue on 15 is rough. But it doesn't seem like Saiyan has blue either. Although Saiyan could also just be drawing back while having blue. That's also a possibility. But switch the red.
Well, he did just play that blue 7, so it might seem to me that he was just drawing to get a blue, not necessarily that he had any. But it's going to work out for Ridley.
Yeah, red 9.
And Science can respond with a red 9 here.
Now we're running red numbers
Back
now.
to 7, so any chance at a crossover block there, down to the 3rd floor.
Just keeps the numbers going. No one wants to really go on that big run yet.
Sometimes that's the best thing you got to do, right? If you got 4 colors, just be patient there. As Cyan had mentioned in his quote there.
Red reverse, so really gonna try to start a bit of an ammo run here. Maybe.
Could be another color switch coming.
Wild blue.
Interesting.
So we're going back
Would have
to
expected
where
with
there were draws here.
Well, I guess if it was going to be blue, I would have expected it with a blue reverse, but we've already used both of them. In fact, we are 6 for 8 on the reverses now, and just 3 for 8 on the skips.
+4. Oh
There's
my
big one.
Jesus! Throws a bunch of
That's
ammo
big.
here. +10. Goes up to 19.
All right, looks.
And my headphones decide they don't want to cooperate, so just give me a second. Won't be able to hear it appear for a little bit. But yeah, really got to think about this one now. Again, this is it's Tapir mentioned a few minutes ago, kind of adding salt to the wound here. But ultimately, just kind of the position that they put themselves in. Gonna go with the +2. Not going too much ammo. I mean, not a bad idea, but
I feel like at this point, you just want to throw anything you got at them because
Yep.
this deficit is crazy. It's a 12 card deficit, 17 to 5. It was a little even worse with 15, I believe.
One green 8,
Just
yeah.
for that +2 there.
I
As
mean,
we go into a green 8.
don't want to do anything ridiculous here, also. But Cyan is just been able to run this green here. It's 3 of his last 5 cards.
There are still 2 +4s out, so it's possible Science just looking for the right moment to pounce there.
Yeah, there's Ridley with a +4. I mean, you had to expect getting at least one of those from throwing a +10.
Yeah.
But wasn't feeling good. And I mean, I saw Cyan trying to type something earlier. I'm wondering if Ridley noticed that. And Cyan has no blue, apparently. So maybe a little bit of an opportunity for Ridley to crawl their way back into this. Again, they were at only 19 cards, so not going to be a comeback. But they were on blue before. Got the switch right away. No, they were on the yellow before, not blue. But gets the green switch now into yellow. And Ridley has clawed their way back at least. But now we're going back into green once again.
And it is quad deuces. Quad deuces on the board.
And another
And a
4.
green 4. And we are notably very close to that reshuffle, too. Keep note of that.
Only 6 cards left. Ridley has ran out on green. I'm wondering if they're maybe banking on the possibility that Cyan does not have one of those +4s. Or with that one +4 left. Maybe that last one is in the last 6 cards.
I mean, it's just very possible that Ridley has it. And he doesn't need to really
And
be
nothing.
aggressive. I wonder though, with that comment from Ridley, that he just doesn't have it. Last +4.
Doesn't
But
seem
before
like
that
it.
comment, yeah, no. But before that comment, I really
Cyan
did.
is just having a lot of green here, though, so he's having his way here. Really getting a little bit frustrated. See the type here. Cyan could always just have the last one, and no, Cyan has ran out, so it's gonna make these last two cards interesting, and also that third one. Reshuffle possibly coming here. Honestly, if I were Ridley, I would just take the chance and see if that last card is maybe a +4.
Very possible. And then I guess at that point, you know exactly what Cyan
That
would
is
have,
true.
right?
Yeah, you'll know at that point.
You should just process of elimination and eliminate your cards. That's the good thing about a 1v1. If you had more players playing, you still wouldn't know exactly what the other players have. But by process of elimination, you can figure that out.
Guess to switch the red.
So there's going to be 0 cards left in the deck. Surely a reshuffle is
Red
imminent here.
+2. Well,
Yep,
there's the
there you go.
reshuffle. So we got a deck reshuffle here. Red +2. Get a bit of a
First deck
slap there.
reshuffle I've seen in a while.
Let me go back to green
Well,
with a wild.
wow.
That
So I
is
would
right off
assume
that was one of the first two cards. That had to have been from the +2.
had to have been, right? Because let me see here.
Yeah, all 4 wilds were used.
Wow, that's crazy luck. Crazy top deck there.
That is a crazy top deck, but another +2 here, and Ridley is not letting Cyan get a hold of this. Big run coming. Massive run coming.
Is this just it? There's no way this is it, right?
Nah.
Yeah, no.
That would have been like a
He was
12
too
card
far
run.
away.
But
Yeah.
closing the gap here. And again,
But
Ridley
I do
knows
believe
who has that fourth +4.
it's got to be Cyan, right? He's got to have the
Well, no,
last
well,
one.
Ridley knows who has it. It's not that if Cyan has it or not. Ridley knows who has it. It's either
Well,
Cyan or him. He
yeah.
definitively knows.
Just we don't, right? We can only make
Yeah.
an
Blue
educated
skip,
guess.
yellow skip, and suddenly Ridley is going on the aggressive here and is putting some life into this game.
So obviously we see who had the majority of the skips there. The rest of them.
Yellow versus green versus draw, nothing, and that actually might mean Ridley has the final +4. And suddenly, yeah, there it
There it
is.
is.
Ridley
This might
found the
be.
last +4
This
from those
might be it.
draws, but only at Uno.
He is at check there. That was looking really good for a moment there.
Looking
Split
to
ammo
salvage
there.
this game after it looks so dire, and he has.
Oh,
Wow.
you look at that.
Ridley salvages the game after a mishap with the power play. And, wow, another long game here. Cyan, I respectfully don't think you're in a position to say that, but besides that, yeah, another long game here, and ultimately it didn't work out. We were talking about the card history and how there was 1+4 left. We were discussing whether it be in one of those last 6 cards as we got down to it, and I think ultimately Ridley was able to find it towards the end. I mean, any comments there? I mean, Ridley did use the power play here, but ultimately, kind of similar to Brad yesterday, not able to fully capitalize on the mistake here and go up 3-1, but it is still 2-2, and it's going to be clean the rest of the way.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I mean, I seriously don't think that was any complaining at all. But after I saw the other comments, I was like, okay, I don't understand what's going on here. Like, you say you have negative luck and then you win. Okay, that's a new one. But besides all that, I mean, I look at the card history, and I think I had like a red 2 and a yellow 5 or something like that, or I'm mixing it up. I looked at the card history, and I was going to be screwed either way. So I had like a green reverse, yellow number, the red number, and it looked like if the split plays were legal, I would have won that way. But all in all, I mean, it was just a decision, and it was a really tricky decision on my end. I mean, of course, I mean, Ridley won because of the advantage in the reshuffle. I can't blame anyone for that. It's a rare thing. So I'll give him credit where credit's due, and this is certainly where the credit is due.
All right. We were again. Ridley was able to find that last +4 before the reshuffle happened, but I'm curious to see where it ended up finding. I'm wondering if it was actually that last card because I was mentioning with the position they were in, I thought even if they did have a play, they might as well just take that draw to take their chance because they'd have all the information they'd need. And if they're fortunate enough that last +4 was that card, then they'd be in a better spot. But we'll see what Ridley has to say. Found the +4 12 cards left, so that was actually a little bit earlier than we were discussing. So, yeah, interesting how that goes. And then is that another top deck off the was there another +4 off the top deck? Okay. Well, that's interesting because we saw Saiyan top deck the wild on the reshuffle, so Ridley must have top decked the +4 as well. But yeah,
That's crazy.
wild.
It just went really quick there.
Yeah, well, we've had a
I
split.
think,
We had a split so far, but to continue.
yeah. No, my only takeaway there, I think, with Ridley's comment about negative luck, I think that was just a plain and simple way to throw Cyan off his scent, right? Just a little offhand comment, and kind of lull him into a false sense of security.
I mean,
That's about
maybe.
all I can say for that. Because I know we have and we have a few players that like to do that. I don't quite remember if Ridley is one of those players. But I know he has been around that type of player before, especially in UUL. We go way back, so that is a possibility.
All right. Well,
And
red
it's going to be a
reverse.
red reverse.
Again, it's another opening that's the special card, but no one wants to jump on the train there. But maybe that's partially because we keep getting these high card starts. But even split so far in these first two homestands, and with that second homestand was a really long one. So see if that's gonna be the norm, or if we'll get some quicker games here, or maybe we'll get something in between. Cyan
This
again
does
with the
remind
blue.
this does remind me, G, of last night's D1 finale. We had very many high card starts. In fact, I believe all of them were 10 and above.
We've already had 141 cards played, so as
Yeah,
the card
crazy.
strength metric is already going to be probably on the lower end of the scale unless someone gets like 8+4s. Tries to play a barbecue, but I don't think that's a
That would
card.
be
So,
that would be a massive
ooh,
drive. 8+4s.
uh, yeah, I respectfully don't hope I hope that does not happen because that would not be fun. But Ridley draws. Cyan gives the switch though. W Kip. I think we're still on the Q discussion. Uh, but now we're in the red. A little bit of life for Ridley here. Yeah. But Cyan with the advantage at the moment, gonna go down to 5. Looking to make this a quick one after 2 long games. Question is, Ridley's gonna go for the wild yellow here, but does that help Cyan? I mean, that was the color he avoided at first. And he's probably going to end the game right there with the +4. Again, both power plays used, so not really going to be able to do much. That's a double +4, so that's just a really strong starting hand. Yeah, I don't really got much on that one.
You just evened up the +4s right
Oh,
there. 6-4 now, 6-6, tied it up. So it does look like let's see,
it would
Cyan
be,
is going to have the lead on most everything except for the +4s and the skips on which they are tied.
yeah, advantage there, but I don't really got much there. That was just seemed like a really strong hand.
Yeah, it was plan A all the way, I think.
Yeah, you got that one right. It was pretty much plan A all the way. The only thing that could have brought me into a plan B is if I would have played the yellow, but I would have shot myself in the foot since I had a lot of cards on blue. So I just thought ice and melt to build a bit more of an advantage than I already had. So I had plenty of options since I had the 2+4s in hand.
Well, Ridley's gonna go back to a full send here. Well, hold on. Ridley can't do that. Ridley can't go back to a full send. Um, yeah, Cyan has won on both 14s and a 12, and we have been just sticking with high card starts for this entire series so far, so I'm wondering when someone's going to try to dip their toes into a bit more of a experimental low tier, which I'm really surprised we have not really seen that much in these last few matches in D2. Everyone just wants to stick with the high tier. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, but Ridley's gonna run 14 again. I don't like this. They've lost on 14 twice already. Although the last time it was kind of a little bit of the power hand, but still, I don't like the insistence on keeping this high tier. No, it's last. It's all right. Well, 14 is gonna be the call here. Um, we'll see how this one goes. Yeah. So it's gonna be 14 for game 6, Scars. But yeah. Uh, I'm not really sure what's going on now. But Tapir, any comments? Looks like we got no comments from
Not,
Tapir. Oh, there we go.
nope, not as of right now. My apologies, just taking care of something real quick here.
Now you're good. All right. Well, we'll start this up here for game 6. Green 5 again. I don't like the call to go back to 14 here. Ridley has
Yeah,
lost twice on this already.
Yeah, I do concur on that. 14 does seem to be a little bit of a disadvantage here. I might go for something like I might even cut it in half. Just go back to the OG7 here, but we'll see how it works out.
Yeah, no one is
A little bit
trying
of
to
a
go
change
for the
of
low
pace.
tier. I'm just a bit surprised by that. Like, no one has even wanted to dip towards the low tier once. Alright, yellow 8. Yellow 2. Yeah, just running the yellow. Simon has the lead because he did a double. Yellow 3, and yeah, now this is looking to be a bit of a interesting, somewhat medium slow pace at the moment, but that also could be really just typing on mobile. This also could be just Ridley. Yeah, Ridley's really got to stay locked into this game also because mentality's been kind of all over the place. And yeah, I feel like some of the mentality is fading away by just keep trying 14 over and over again, but a +2 is going to give really the lead for now. And that's actually going to open the door for a switch to green. And again, I mean, you don't really want to be the first one to draw on these high tier starts. I'm really going to go with the crossover to blue, though. and that's going to be a slap in the face, and that'll give Cyan the lead right back. But I mean, this is the color Ridley was wanting, so maybe we can run a little bit here. So we keep it going with the blues. Blue skip. This will give Ridley the lead as we go into a 3-card switch here, most likely. Typing a bit, so maybe extending the warranty a bit. Yeah, it will be green +2. Makes Cyan draw some cards here as an add-on, and ends it with a 4-card run. And we go right back in the blue. And Cyan has really been controlling these color switches for most of the game. He has definitely a lot more than Ridley. And Ridley runs out on blue. Not what they need. We talk about that first self draw not being good, and you see it from Ridley right there. And Cyan's going to throw on a +2 as well to throw a little bit of salt in the wound there. Does that give Ridley a blue, though? So now that's 3 extra cards since the last turn. Taking a second here. Again, another table check here. Gonna go with the blue skip and draws, so only the blue skip able to find that, and nothing else. And it doesn't seem like they have skips either, so ammo could be a bit of a problem, but that may have blocked Cyan from a switch, as he does not play it. And now we have another draw city in this series. As of now, does not seem to be a monster hand start once again, but I mean, for Ridley, this is going to be a similar situation. This is going to be a not a similar situation, but like it's going to be important for them to get this win, because 4-2 down is going to be tough to come back from, even though there is no power plays left. Wild Yellow going to just break it up, and Cyan just really wants this draw city. So he's just going to keep it there. This is very much going to be another KT. Well, okay, well that's actually not a KT Classic now because he played a card, so blue reverse into a draw. But yeah, that is really getting a little bit confused here. But that actually is going to open the door for a switch as now we go into yellow, double yellow reverse here into the red reverse. Big run here on the reverses here. Maybe Cyan potentially regretting that choice a little bit. Red 5 now. See what the call is now here from Cyan. Try to do it once already with the blue. And I'm going to throw a +4 down. That might actually give +4. That might actually give +4 advantage now. Favor Cyan, but I think the reverses might have got caught up also. But it's seeming like a slight lean so far in this series for Cyan here, but we've had so many cards play, it's ultimately not going to be a massive differential. But Ridley's not going to go down without going to take that. Going to do a +2 there. Slice that in half a little bit, but it's still relatively close at the moment. Again, a lot of early swings on the +4s here. Green skip. This will give Ridley the lead, assuming they can play. Yes, they can. Looking for the yellow. Maybe a 3-card run. Maybe another one. Maybe another +2 to throw on as well, like last time. We'll see. No, it's going to be a wild red. So, gets out of green, then goes into yellow, and then has no yellow, it looks like, for now. And another +4 from Cyan. And I'm wondering if he had both of those and just used them as kind of a block. And again, I think we talk about this. Ridley cannot get mentally phased here as they go for a quick switch into red, and Cyan's actually going to have it for the ditto. Ridley, again, with some of the slight frustration, but again, we talk about the mentality. Got to make sure you're still locked into it, even if the situation is not looking great. Really did want the red, though, so this, in theory, would be a decent spot for them. They are typing. Again, power plays both got used up, so we're not going to see any of that. These decisions are really making this critical one here. Just take a quick look at the card history. Yeah, 3 of the wilds already got used, and then 2 of the +4s. But red has not really been used a lot, so... Okay, so Ridley has a +4 of their own, and again, says they can't do a lot, but then throws out the +4, so... I'm wondering if they're trying... I'm wondering, as Tapir said, I'm wondering if they're trying to play a little bit in their head, but it's a draw there. You know, another draw from Saiyan, so... We're back even once again. And now there's only 1 +4 left, and there's also only 1 wild left as well. And speaking of wilds, there's now 0 wilds left. So the only switch we're going to find here is a +4. Don't get it. Go into red. Ridley technically has the advantage now. Yellow switch, that actually might not be bad for Ridley. We'll see. Able to play it.
My apologies, G. Tonight's been nuts. Haven't been able to catch a break.
Another double draw here. 4-5. Neither can find anything. It just seems like they're not really able to line much up. Yeah, again, you look at it there. All the wilds are gone. Only 1 +4 left. I don't think either player has it at the moment. But I was a little wrong on when the +4 timing was last time. But blue 1's going to break it up. I think that ties it as well. No, that actually gives Saiyan the advantage. But yeah, red, not... I mean, again, I opened up the card history tab, but not a lot of red. So... I'm wondering if we end up drawing a bit more, whether both these players don't really have red, or if we're just going to see a lot of that red there. But a lot of the ammo has been used up on blue. There's the red there. We'll see what the call is going to be here. Again, just not really a lot used on red. Both skips, both +2s still open. One of the +2s is now gone. 6-4. They were tied at 4, but really going to be 2 back. Actually, no, this is a scoreboard flop switch, actually. Yeah, Ridley again just taking their time. This is looking to be another long game as we're about to hit 10 minutes. It's definitely going to be a series that probably goes at least an hour. Again, this stream has gone on for well over an hour. We started at around 9:30, 9:35. Really going to play a number. Saiyan going to follow suit. Again, there's 1 +4 left. If Saiyan has it, he's in a spot to close this one out. He does not. Draws on the red. Can Ridley keep it going? No. Ridley just not really able to find these lineups here. Another draw here. Can Saiyan get a bit of a fortunate top deck? Again, taking a second. He does find the top deck on the red 4. And gets into green. Green 9. Can he get the Uno or maybe the game? Ridley not feeling too great about this.
He might end up burning some more ammo here. We'll
Well,
see.
I mean, he's at 2, so if he burns the ammo, then he kind of wins. Gets the Uno, is just probably deciding the card. I just don't know if Ridley's going to really have anything here. And the only thing I can think of is that last +4, but I don't know if Ridley's going to have it. Is there any +2s left on green? No, there's not. So, can either pull something out of the hat here. Blue 2.
Is that going to be the answer there?
No, that's an ice. Ices it out.
Yeah.
Stays alive.
Solid.
Can Ridley keep it going, though?
Mm.
Yes, alright. This is tense moment here. No, and Ridley runs out once again. Gets another red top deck. Ridley has nothing still on
Right.
this red, and that's ultimately just going to be something to keep Cyan low. So the draws
Science
keep
really
going.
just trying to stay down there.
And this is yellow and green at this point. Another top deck that's going to keep Cyan low once again, although not really in the super low bracket. It's still at 4. 5 gets to switch the green. I'm assuming Cyan had 2 greens left. I'm wondering if those are the decisions. Goes the blue. Tries to force an ice. Cyan gets 1 off the draw. Any more, though. Green. This is a lot of color switching. I don't know if I love this. This might be falling right into Cyan's lap. Green's 0. There's no call out. There's the call out. Cyan doesn't call Uno. I might have tried for a sneak attack there, or maybe just didn't have the finish. But if that was not intentional, that is a massive, massive blunder. And it might also still end up being a massive blunder, especially if he could have maybe got the game win there. He gets the final +4
No.
from the call out.
My
Oh,
gosh,
man. And there's
that's
now
crazy.
no +4s left. There's not really ammo to force the draws. Yeah, that was very fortunate from Cyan to be able to benefit off that. Yeah, really just getting that fortunate, getting a bit of a rabbit's foot, but
Crazy.
yeah, I think Ridley's leading the skips, but yeah, I mean,
Cyan
there's no +4s. Gets Uno on green, and this is like a tough
down
spot
to
to be in. There's not really +2s left available, and there's no wilds, so you're really gonna have to bank that it wasn't all green. It was not all green, so Ridley stays alive for now. And another draw here, and this is not a good spot for Ridley to be in at all, because there's no +4s left, there's no wilds left. It just does not seem like there's much ammo left in the deck in general. I mean, I keep clicking the wrong thing. Yeah, I mean, there's a red +2, a yellow +2. That's kind of it. Then 2 red skips. That's kind of it. But Cyan just
So we
gets
have all
a
the
yellow. This is a problem for Ridley, because I mean they can't really keep drawing because there's not really gonna be much to find. I mean, maybe could get a yellow +2, but that's really the only thing they could get. And just as I say that, Cyan has the yellow +2, so can't even get that. Yeah, just kind of it's a late game situation where Cyan has just been able to find every single ammo card, and Ridley just does not seem like they have much. The only thing they could really find is red. Guess the blue, maybe an unfortunate colored placement or number placement. Yeah, this is Ridley's got to make sure they don't get frustrated here. Blue 9. Yeah, and it's gonna be a mistimed number placement from Ridley that's gonna cost that Cyan able to just take advantage of getting the ammo there, including a very fortunate +4 off a call out. And now it's 4-2. Again, another long game, and that's 3 for 3 on the 14s. Yeah, that's kind of why I wasn't really feeling too good about the 14s from Ridley there, but definitely a different game than it was for game 5. But I mean, Cyan is definitely just able to find a way to get through it. Missed call, and then just get the +4. And then at that point, all the ammos kind of ran out, and you just kind of was able to just walk your way into the end. 1 away from the win here, though.
Yeah, I mean, it was a tricky situation. I think the last card I had was a yellow +2. I might be mistaken. But when I went for the game here, when I went for the intentionally missed Uno call, I was hoping to God that I would get the +4 and not Ridley, because we all know what happened the last time Ridley had the +4. And I know Ridley just concerned for his own game like I'm concerned for my own game, so I don't know if I even want to call it complaining anymore. But hey, we're about to get to a board series, and let's just hope to God I don't screw this up for the last 3 games. That or the RNG chokes on me. Like I probably deserve after the last two series. It'd be karma retribution, right?
Yeah, we'll see. Ridley's yeah, Ridley's kind of being not really sure what to do here. I guess for Ridley also we need 17 more seconds to be an hour-long series, so I would assume we get that in game 7, but alright, well, Saiyan is gonna have 3 or what's it called? Not 3. He's gonna have the game 7 call. And it's gonna go with 13 here, so again, going back to a card start he lost on, and we've seen from Ridley's side this has not worked, so we'll see if Saiyan can find something different, but I don't necessarily love this call. Blue 6 at the opening, though.
It seems to be a series marked by, should we say, uncommon occurrences, such as all 7 games now being 12 and above start, both power plays being burned by game 4. Crazy.
I'm just not really sure why Ridley, especially since they're the one down right now, has not explored the low tier even once. I just think you should give it at least a shot, especially if the high tier is not working a lot. But a blue +2 is going to at least give them a little bit of an advantage here. But again, this has been a series of so many questionable calls, so many mistakes, craziness. I'm not really sure what to say. But Saiyan holds the lead, but it's a crossover into the red. And it's going to be a double here. And again, I've mentioned this before. I think for Ridley, the only way they're going to be able to stay in this series if they just do not get frustrated and lose the mentality. Because if that happens, it's really going to be curtains here, even if it's just not getting good hands. But I mean, it's really just been playing a lot of numbers here. But most of the time, these runs kind of just get saved up to the finish. But it's really just been kind of a bizarre one. Wild yellow here. Saiyan down to 4. Ridley is up in arms right now, and this is not what they need. Have nothing, yellow skip, and wild red, so again, well, that works out for Ridley. But again, maybe just up in arms is kind of their keyword for a run.
He's going to need to run those reds quite a bit.
Oh my
Oh my gosh. Top deck again.
It's just top deck after top deck.
Back to yellow.
I don't really
If I
have
was
words
Ridley,
at
I
this
would be
point.
crashing out right
Well,
now.
Ridley's still in this series, but again, the mentality is it just has to stay intact. Yellow 8. 7-3, yellow 2. Saiyan down the 2 cards. Yellow 1 does not seem like there's going to be much of an answer here right now, but Saiyan doesn't have a yellow, and that also means he does not have another +4, so game not over yet, but we've seen how this series has gone. This Ridley's got to be concerned with these draws here. Gets a green 2, which might not be great, but has the green +2 slap, so again, keeps himself in it and actually gives themselves the lead. Really, again, just kind of not really feeling great about how these draws have gone.
And who would be, right? It's just absolutely insane.
Typing for a bit. Green 3, so nothing yet. Green 0.
Getting down to the wire here.
Ridley keeping a slim
Green
lead.
reverse, blue
Oh my
reverse.
gosh!
That is
Wait,
Uno. That's
there's
Uno. There's your call out.
no call out. There it is.
I mean,
So
even
you're
if
just
Ridley
gonna
is
have it
down,
again, maybe?
getting those call outs is gonna be important to keep themselves alive, even if it's misfortune. But gotta be able to put themselves in a
And I
position
guess
where they
Ridley's
could
solace is
capitalize.
that most of the time those callouts aren't going to work in Science favor anyway.
You'd think. Blue 2. Okay, so I'm wondering if maybe he didn't actually have the finish there, but found the blue 2. Ridley gets the Uno. Cyan draws. Does Ridley have a finish? It'd have to be blue or a 1. Or a wild. No, no finish. So we hit 5 minutes. Again, Ridley just kind of one card off. Not able to really find that top deck there. And another draw city going underway, and I don't think Ridley's loving this because these draw cities, at least from what it seems for him, has not really been his friend tonight. But yeah, that one stray card is definitely going to be a hindrance for Ridley here. And I think it's ultimately is a series of what-ifs, especially with that power play mishap. But Cyan's going to break the draw city, goes in the green. Does that free up Ridley here? We're up to 7 and 8. 6 and 8 now. And another +2 for Cyan, so Cyan going to take the lead. Ridley runs out on green as well, so this 2 color. Cyan also is out on green, so that's 2 color for both players. So we hit 11 p.m. Or a few minutes ago, hit 11 p.m. In terms of East Coast time. I'm curious how the Miami baseball game is going. I might as well check that now as we're in Draw City, because I would like to see them win the regional. Yeah. The Draw City still keeps going. Alright. Grueling encounter. Yeah, I mean, there's been some long games in this one, so...
Yeah, there's been a lot going on here. Like, we got one reshuffle and then almost got a second one. That's crazy.
Alright, good news. Miami is winning 9-1
Like-
over Columbia, so we are winning here. But
Crazy.
Go Miami! Woo! My fault.
yeah, fell Kane here. But yeah, also there was a ditto. I wasn't paying attention, but let me just, for historical sake, let me get that. There we go. We run red, so Draw City's gone. Double red 6 from Ridley here as we pick up the action once again. Again, this is, in Ridley's terms, it's been a grueling series, and especially when you're behind, it's not the most fun position, but I think the thing is, this is best of 9, so Ridley is technically still in it, even if they feel out of it. A red +2 is going to put them tied with Cyan. Cyan's going to have the color, no, not color, the advantage here. And a wild green, so we go to green, we go back to green.
Really is gonna have to draw on that. Interesting.
I just don't think
Cyan
really is
looks
having
like
these
he can run it from.
greens. Yeah, I just don't really know where the mentality is for Ridley at this point. It feels like it might be in the train, but they're still alive in this series despite it. But we get a quick switch to yellow, which I actually think might benefit Cyan since he had a play on green. I really don't know how long Cyan was going to be able to run that. Ridley looking to try to do something here to at least put themselves back into the swing of things. Maybe just get a little momentum here.
Absolutely, yeah. As we go into
wow,
a
this
yellow 7.
is looking to be a 6-card run to the finish, and Okay, I don't think there's
Oh
three
my
plus
god.
fours. Well, there's one plus four, four reverses. It's down to two.
1, 2, 3.
And, that's just going to be
Last
how the series is
two.
going to end, and another plus four to end it.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Man, that
And it looks
was
like
a rough ending there, but
1, 2, 3, 4. The longest chain of the series was the series ender at 6.
yeah, a lot of
At least
ammo,
tied.
a lot of the ammo was used more in like quick spurts here, not in like a big run here, but a double plus four here that gives the 12 to 7 on the plus fours, and Saiyan is going to his first Final Four in a definitely a long match, but definitely not the cleanest match either, but Saiyan's able to emerge victorious here. Saiyan, you're into the Final Four here. This was quite the series for a few different reasons, but any comments here? 218, 234 cards played. I feel like that might be the most of the season so far. I'd need to double check that, but Saiyan, thoughts on the Final Four, and just the series in general.
Yeah, I mean, first off, I gotta hand it over to Ridley. I mean, he really challenged me this one more than anybody has. I just got lucky in the back half of the series to have a shot to win it all. I really wish that it would have been 8 or 9 because Ridley is a great player, and this is the first 1-2 match in D2 history in terms of regional finals is concerned, and the first top 10 ranked match of the season. So, again, I really wish that getting my 8th series win that is also critical in making the D2 championship. I wish it would have been a better fight, but unfortunately the RNT had different plans on that one. Obviously, good lord, I'm seeing it right now. I'm seeing it right now. Card strength metric's probably going to be the biggest one, but anyway, I feel bad for Redley. I feel bad, and I mean, we were both stressed in the entire series. I mean, he was stressed, I was stressed. So honestly, I can just forgive about any complaints that both of us had, for real. I think Redley will try to make a bounce back to the D2 championship. I seriously don't think it's over. I think he'll still have a shot to get a D1 promotion. It's just not this time around. So I wish Redley luck, and we'll see if I get a rematch against Ami or a rematch against Myhal. Either way, it's going to be insane for me, and see if I can get my vengeance for my previous defeats.
For sure.
All right. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, long series, over an hour. But Saiyan's gonna get the win. Ridley, what's it called? Ridley post game already left the post game comment. I don't know if we're really gonna get much out of them from there. I'll try to pull up the what the metric for this one if I can quickly. But I mean, Tapir, any comments on this one? Definitely a long one, but definitely one that had a lot of moments throughout.
Not a whole lot, but it did go in 7, and it was very interesting to see how the match played out without the power plays, right? Because you had the last 3 games that kind of had to be figured out on their own, like a typical Uno game would be without that power play bailout. So it was interesting to watch. I think Ridley did really well with the hands that he was given. Obviously, not a lot of the luck factor there. Mostly that was Saiyan's doing, but I think he really did well. He tried putting up a good fight. Still got 2 to his name against Saiyan's 5, but ultimately it is going to be Saiyan taking home the win here with the Final Four finale. So congrats to him. I think it was a really good match. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Unfortunately for Ridley, he's going to be sent packing, but I know he's going to be able to bounce that back soon.
Yeah. We'll see how this goes. I'm still trying to get this in because I had the card start. I mean, again, so many high card starts. No one even wanted to go into the low tier ones. We didn't even have a single card start go below 12, and that was only in game 1. Everything else was 13, 14, or 15. Any comments on that, especially with Ridley's decision to go to 14 twice on their homestand, losing both times, especially after losing 14 in game 3.
Well, I mean, I was just kind of baffled by it, right? Because normally you'd see a wide variety. You would see the 7s, 8s, and 9s, and occasionally you would see a 5 and a 6, but you didn't see any of that. You didn't see anything from, what was it, 11 and below, I believe. It was a very, very high card start heavy matchup, and that is one of the rarer ones that we've seen so far. I didn't really expect that to take the turn that it did, but ultimately it did, and it's very interesting to watch for sure.
Yeah, again, apologies if my voice is a little down. That was a very draining series.
Yeah,
How
that's
much was
fine.
happening with that, but
It was a lot, yeah. And I apologize for bailing out a little bit, like I said.
nah, you're fine.
Um,
Don't worry about it. Yeah, again, I mean, there's your card start metric. I think this is pretty decently high for the amount of cards played, but still overall not that crazy. But yeah, 234. I'm pretty sure that's a season high. Which again, the amount of cards played does play a factor into it. So, yeah, I don't even see anything in the 200s here from the rest of the season from either division. Closest I think I saw was 189. Oh wait, no, I found one that was about 200. That was Ami Marcus in February. Another series
Wow,
that was very draining.
wow, wow, wow.
And that was actually about the same, ultimately in terms of the CSM. But yeah, very very long series. A lot of moments that just kind of were all over the place, but yeah, again, I'm just gonna quickly switch over to the match here so I can just quickly grab the updated bracket, which Short does not actually have, so we're just gonna cut to said bracket. I thought he would, I thought it was gonna be there, but I guess not. Anyways, there's a result. There's your not updated bracket, but Saiyan moves on. Congratulations to him. 5-2 victory. He moves on to face the winner of the Cyclone region. Already filling out to be a very interesting Final Four. That's the second person making their first Final Four appearance. As we look for potentially another batch of people who'd make their first appearance here. Ami, the only one left who can make back-to-back this season, and White Spider looking to make his second this career. Mahale looking to make his second as well. So, technically, no matter what happens to the Cyclone region, we'll have someone who at least has one Final Four on their resume, but we'll see how that all plays out. But it's going to be quite the round here as we keep the action going tomorrow at the same time we started here with Mahale Ami going at it. We'll see who gets the upper hand there, but it's going to be an interesting one. Well, we got to get going. That'll do it for us on behalf of the MRE Uno Commission and everyone who came in to watch. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you to my co-commentator Tapir for going out with this one with me.
For sure, yeah.
Scars for being a ref. Congratulations to Cyan on the victory, making his first Final Four appearance. And we will see you all tomorrow for some more MRE Uno D2 action. But until then, take care, everyone, and have a great night.
This has been a presentation of MRE Uno, Division 2.